Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. I'd like to welcome everyone to the July meeting of the Economic Development Authority for the City of Lynchburg. First item on the agenda is the official call to order and roll call. Just to let everyone know, we do not have a quorum today, so we will go through the list and make sure that those that are here are credited. Pat Mosby.
Here.
Mark Strohsnyder's here. George Ann Sneed.
Here.
Bill Lovern is not here. John Stone is not here. Richard Tugman is not here. And our newest member, who is yet to be sworn in, but will be here for the August meeting, Ms. Kim Sorensen, is in the audience as a citizen this morning. But I would like to take this opportunity to welcome Kim to the board. We look forward to having you here and bringing your insight into our little band of merry people here. Well, we look forward to it. The next item is the approval of the minutes for the June 17, 2021 meeting. Again, for those that are here, I hope you've had a chance to review them. Since there is no quorum, we will push this to the August meeting for approval. Next item on the agenda is the election of officers. Again, there is not a quorum today, so we will move this to the August meeting. We have been advised by Mr. Craddock that all of those officers that are in place for the 2021 calendar or year continue to be in place until new officers have been elected. So everyone who's in place will stay that way until the August meeting. The next item on the agenda is approval of the fiscal year 2022 budget. Ms. Benson, Ms. Benson's here. We have reviewed this item several times already. Again, without the quorum, we will need to push this to the August meeting for official recognition and induction into the minutes. But as of right now, there are no significant changes to the budget, so we will be pressing forward in that sense. The next item is the CARES Act Business Grant Program. Mr. White, who is not available. This may be a record time meeting.
Okay. So you're really receiving a staff update on this because, as you know, the EDA was the conduit for the CARES Act funds, both for the business recovery program that we had and those grants, as well as the community support, which went through nonprofits. And so we learned, I think I mentioned to you all at the June meeting that I had contacted Kent to ask him if he wanted to get on the agenda to close those accounts out, and he did not, but he didn't check with finance, and they needed for him to do that by June 30th, and I checked with Ted, and the city had the legal power to come in and say with those funds need to be, and Melissa had already done all the work of everything to do with that. And so the thing we were most concerned was that the community support side of it was going to be ending on June 30th, anyway. And and all the funds had been trued up, but we wanted to make sure that we had money to pay the administrative fees that would be rolling in perhaps after the fact. So if I'm not mistaken, the money in the business recovery side of it was completely moved. Yeah, returned to the city. by that June 30th date to be shored up. And then this agenda item talks about the money, the pending completion of the performance agreement with Miriam's House. So that's where we were going to true it up for any outstanding administrative.
And there were going to be enough funds to cover the
Yes.
administrative fees?
Absolutely. Yes, and so I think what was returned to the city was, I don't know if that's
It looked
on
like
here.
last month the EDA returned a balance of $223,435.
Yeah, 223, I knew it was 200,000 and some, 435 to the city for that June 30th.
So that was a
deadline.
state mandated June 30 guideline.
No, it's the city's, the
Oh, just
city
cleaning
is
out their
looking at their
fiscal.
books and
Gotcha.
needing to, for all of that to be,
Close it out by the end of the
to
year.
be able to close it out. So
Gotcha. Okay.
So they did that for the end of their fiscal year, and so this is just an update to you all because that had to be done between your last meeting and this meeting. And so they will come back in for the unexpended
Portion.
funds from Miriam's House, July 31. Right, so I'll keep you apprised of all that, but this is just to say, we're taking both those down, right? The Miriam's House agreement ends on July 31.
Okay.
So all that's left in those two accounts that you all opened up for the CARES Act program is what's in the Miriam's House side of it. And that side of the house was also where they felt like there was enough, there were enough funds in there to cover those administrative costs as well. So the city will probably come in before your next meeting in August and do the same thing that they did with this before, just making sure you all know everything that's happened along the way. And I don't believe this requires a vote. And if it did, we couldn't.
For
So,
informational
there you have it.
purposes.
Okay.
Thank you, Ms. Upshur. The last item on the agenda is the staff report.
Yeah,
Back to Ms. Upshur.
that's right. So we want to introduce everybody, besides welcoming Kim to the EDA, is Clayton Copper is our new events operations coordinator. As you all know, special events for the city has been put under our office. And Clayton has hit the ground running, and we are so excited to have him. So
Welcome. Welcome.
he's amazing. He's already been on the firing squad, and
Trial by fire.
it was amazing, right? He handled it much better than I would. Okay, we have a lot going on. So City Hall open to the public, soft opening. You haven't seen a lot of major press about that, but it has been open since June 30. As you can see, they're still working outside, but all has gone relatively well. Grant Match, if you saw that press release that went out, that is a company that is partnering with Hire Lynchburg, which is the city's initiative that Tech Hire kind of morphed into, over time, works upstairs with John Hughes, the assistant city manager, on the grant side of the house for, employment and, what is the name of that program that he did? Getting Ahead. And, he's got a curriculum up there for, helping people get ready to go into the workforce. Alicia assists on some of that, but Grant Match was a lead that came in that Alicia took from, because a lot of the things that come through our on our desk, we are never sure if they're real, or not. But she took that from start to finish, and that is a company that is locating their U.S. headquarters will be in Lynchburg. And so they are now here, and they're operating out of the Monument Terrace building to work alongside, but they also do grant work for companies. And so they have companies here that they're doing work with, probably even as we speak.
So they rent space,
They're in the Monument Terrace building alongside the Higher Lynchburg, yeah.
So are they dealing just with nonprofits, or is it,
Their biggest sector is manufacturing.
okay.
Yeah. And they already had worked with like BWXT in Canada, so they already had some connections down here.
It also doesn't
Right.
hurt that the CEO's
I'm sorry, what
daughter
is their
goes to
name again?
Liberty.
Grant match.
So that was really exciting.
Note to self.
The local redevelopment program, we kind of supersized that this year, and that was funded for $240,000, and it went to like 15 businesses here. I was telling everybody as I was going through the enterprise zone and everything, it is just amazing the building permits that came through during the pandemic. The number of businesses that had an expansion is still going on now. Alicia and I were talking about it yesterday. These are what's out there right now pending.
Pending?
It's
Those are
amazing.
pending?
Yeah, approvals for coming through City Hall for permitting. So there's an awful lot going on. And I think on the enterprise zone side of it, we probably had grants come back through, real property improvement grants come back through for about $1.3 million. That's one of the higher ones that we've ever had, meaning that came back to the businesses here. Let's see. We have been talking with Humankind. They have been awarded a CDFI. We used to have one of those with Laura Dupuy and the Lynchburg Neighborhood Association, but they're really not easy to get, and they really work from a social equity standpoint. So I think Humankind's looking at ways to work their program that's really successful, but also we're talking to them about how our loan program might be able to be morphed and put into a different way to look at how we might use that where it's needed most in a different way. So that's really exciting to know that Lynchburg now has a CDFI that's here. We are still working on the brand campaign. We had a great meeting yesterday with communications and community engagement, public engagement, the staff here, about how we might use that brand, and the launch for that is October the 1st. The museum had a soft opening on June the 4th, but the museum, as I've told you all, is offering visitor services at the museum. So you don't go two places, you go one place. They've seen, as we might have imagined, their traffic's picked up significantly. And they're gonna have their kind of grand opening, right, to the public with the press release is this weekend. So right now, they are open 3 days a week. They're open Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. They will do, they will have a scavenger hunt and, all kinds of things there this weekend. So if any of you, can stop by up there, they're doing a really great job. The museum experience leaders, which are who Ted hires, his part-time people that he has that do museum tours and, work on the programs and curating. They're kind of jack of all trades for both sites, Point of Honor and the museum. And they are also now been cross-trained on the visitor services side of it. And I probably mentioned it last time, but we've already had compliments coming back on how helpful they've been. And Ted had a really robust curriculum for them just for the museum. And then, we added in the visitor services piece. So that's going quite well, I believe. And we are thinking of, well, not thinking of, I love it when we have a hard date. The annual report release will be in our gathering that we will have, barring any unforeseen circumstances, will be held at the Point of Honor, hopefully outside, on Thursday, September 30th. So that's exciting. And then the digital kiosk project, and Anna can probably speak to that a little more, but that's a whole nother, I keep forgetting all these things that we've done, right? Just the amount of things that we'd had to, not had to, but were fortunate enough to be able to do during this time period has been many, 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 many things. And these digital kiosks will be deployed, is 8 of them, Anna, 8 or 9? At all the colleges, at, the train station, at all of that. That just takes, our ability to have information out there about what there is to do and see and just period, will be vastly improved with these digital kiosks being everywhere. So that's just another layer of, how we can maximize, people's knowledge of what there is to do, not only if you're coming from somewhere else, but those in their own backyard knowing, what there is to do here. And then Clayton's just gonna light it up with special events here. So it's a good time will be had by all. Anna, do you have anything you or Alicia that you want to mention?
The only other thing I wanted to mention date-wise was the inauguration of Dr. Morrison Shetler at the University of Lynchburg has been rescheduled for October 1st. They are working really hard to engage the city in that process. We're planning to have that virtually in the spring and decided that it's kind of a big deal for them. So to move that to the fall and have the ability to have more public engagement. So just put that as a hold on your calendars as well. You all will receive invitations.
And that'll be on campus?
Be on campus.
At LC.
Yeah.
Probably there'll be things happening that whole week and weekend, but that Friday would be the formal inauguration.
And she's been just hit the ground running even throughout the pandemic and just been a really incredible partner to walk alongside us. And we've talked about all the things that we talked to you all about it, because they have so much going on that campus, and how do we help them and maximize that return for the city. So that's great. And as you all know, the Commonwealth Games are coming up the 23rd through the 25th.
5th, next week.
And the Commonwealth Games is the largest, partnership that the city has. And that's another place where having all these things that I've just talked about in place and functioning properly allow people, when they come here for this event from all over the state of Virginia, to take advantage of the things we have going on here. So it's at Liberty, the 24th or 23rd. When is Friday? Friday. They have a VIP
23rd.
reception
On the 22nd.
22nd.
on the 22nd. They had a press release yesterday. They have a VIP reception on the 22nd. Then on the 23rd is when, they have their opening ceremonies. So they try to they do a great job with that. They really try to make the athletes, which are, from 2 years old up to 80, whatever, across the board, make that have as much of an Olympic feel as they possibly can there. And they always do a really, really good job with that. And then the events, now there'll be events going on this weekend, isn't that right?
Right.
There
There
are
are.
several events this weekend, All-Star Baseball, All-Star Softball, Pickleball.
Yeah.
Racquetball. Thank you.
Yeah. So Liberty has incredible facilities. Liberty offers like an Olympic Village kind of experience for the participants, coming in, should they choose to take advantage of that. And then all of the sports. And they have a tailgate party on that Friday too, before the opening ceremonies, that I believe, was held in that giant football, is that right?
It is.
Right, yeah, the football
Williams Stadium.
practice.
Oh, the bubble.
Yeah, the bubble there. It's just
practice
really,
facility.
and they try to put it out there because it's free, most of the things that have to do with it, Liberty means free to the public to engage in. So Lisa and Andrew have been working really hard on all of that, and all of us are going to volunteer to staff the booth that we will have there so that everybody gets a feel for, what are people asking for? What kind of information are they looking for? What, all of those kinds of things. So that is exciting.
Anna, back to the kiosks, just for a second. Once they are all deployed, up, running, are the messages handled from here and
Yes.
deployed?
There's a
Okay.
web platform that will, it's similar to a technology that we have that feeds content we already have some screens at the airport and Amtrak station and at the museum, and they're all controlled from a web interface, so we can push content out to those kiosks.
So they could be used really for, in an emergency?
They could be, absolutely.
That message could be deployed, okay. Hope that's never the case, but it
Right.
could be multiple use. Good.
The kiosks we purchased also have touchscreen capability. When we first purchased them back in the fall, we thought we probably would not turn on that touchscreen capability initially, so we're looking at that again just from a nobody wants to touch things right now, right, perspective. But they do have that ability, so at some point we'll be able to turn that on, and they'll be more interactive than even just displaying messages and video that they can do now. They all are they have a wireless connection, internet connection
Okay.
installed in the piece that receives and can send content to.
Great.
It's pretty cool.
You said that will be in the fall?
Yes, they've been ordered. They're on order. They should be here mid-August, and then they'll be installed at all the locations.
Are we just waiting for the microchips?
That is actually an issue. Computer.
I said it tongue in cheek, but
Yes.
a minute
So there were
forward.
some delays in the pieces themselves. So,
Okay.
yeah.
All right, does anyone else have any, is there anything else,
Yeah,
Ms.
no.
Upshur?
Unless you all have any questions for us.
Does anyone have any questions for staff?
Oh, just the branding, they're taking all the input that when we did the breakout sessions and everything, all the input from that to construct the brand for the city, right?
Yes.
That's going to be interesting, because that was a great session. I thoroughly enjoyed that. It was good.
Well, it's really, really good, and I think the other piece of it is that the more that, we sit with it and we talk with them, how really brilliant they were from the standpoint of, it is aspirational, the brand is, but it's really from the feedback. The brand or the campaign that we'll do, the first campaign that we'll really do, LYH is the brand, but the first campaign that we'll really do to engage, and, you're coming out of hopefully coming out of the pandemic, and you want to fire it up, is really about what the feeling and the actual things that they heard from you all, right? Like it really, I know this sounds cliche, but it warms my heart to have them repeat back to me when I go, well, this might be a stretch, and this might be a stretch. And they go, no. We heard that from your people. So it's really about, how people feel about the place and the feedback that they gave. That's what the campaign is about, right? So it's like you said, this has been a very, very, very interesting and enlightening journey with them, because I think they are absolutely wonderful to work with. So
I'm excited.
I'm really excited. I mean, I'm sure we'll get blowback, but I'm really excited. I got to put the armor on because I have a tendency to get a little prickly.
Just a little bit.
Yeah, but it comes from a good place, right?
Does
I'm
anyone
pretty
else
loyal.
have any questions? Of course, we don't have a quorum, so we couldn't go into closed session, but there are no items for closed session, so that's a good thing. With there being no other items on the agenda, the July meeting portion is officially adjourned.